Okay, it's Bob Frizzell, and this is Mel's Astral Cafe. The Astral Cafe was used in the TV shows Stargate, and it was basically, they're always talking about ascension on Stargate, and God knows, I think I was on Stargate at least 2 times as an actor. No, but I was on Stargate as an extra. And one of my scenes, I was one of the people in one of the background in the Astral Cafe. And this hat is Brazil. And Brazil was a movie I started to watch and I couldn't watch it because it's so Byzantine. Byzantine means, it comes from the ancient city of Byzantium, which then became Constantinople, which then became Istanbul, Turkey. And the movie Brazil is basically like the old spy movie called The Osterman Weekend, where there's so much action going on, but you cannot understand what the heck is going on. And that's what Byzantine means. It's so complicated. Byzantine was also had to do with the government of Byzantium. And you had to do, if you wanted to get a permit to sell hot dogs, you had to go through all the official channels. So you would go and stand in line for 4 hours at one official's place, pay him, get a stamp on your document, and then you would have to go across town and stand in line for another 4 hours to talk with another official who might not like the fact you went to the other official first, so he'd ask for an even bigger bribe in order to give his stamp, and this would go on ad nauseum. You would have to go back and forth to all these petty minor officials and pay them bribes so they would give you their official stamp in order to finally get the permit in order to sell hot dogs. And that is what Byzantine means. It means and then you would also have to know which are the officials you had to bribe, because if you didn't bribe them properly and on a regular basis, they were known as a protection racket. A protection racket is basically mafiosi. It's a shakedown thing. In other words, you got to pay protection money or hush money to the mob so that they don't come and, burn down your hot dog stand. And then they're also going to, look for a cut. Every time you go to the bank, they're going to want a cut of what your hot dog sales were. And they're also going to want free hot dogs. And basically, it's mafia. And that's what Byzantium also means. Now, I don't want to go too long about this, but I just want to say, I want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, who was reported dead by suicide in a jail cell. And I want to, I was going to have a prop. But I want to tell you that I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a minute that he is dead by hanging or whatever they said, because I've got this prop here, and this is the double DVD, Eddie and the Cruisers on the one side, hopefully that's in focus, and Eddie Lives on the other side. So this is a film, 2 films that are about, in the first movie, Eddie disappears, he's a singer, he disappears, and they don't know what happened to him. And then the second movie is Eddie reappears after faking his death. So it gets very Byzantine, because I question, is Jeffrey Epstein really a billionaire, and does he really have his own private island and private plane that flies celebrities to the Caribbean to have sex with underage women, kidnapped women? Or is he an actor playing the role for the news? So in the end, what's the point of it all? Fake deaths. Other people that I think have faked their deaths. Arthur Porter, who was the head of the Canadian spy service known as CSIS. His name was dragged through the mud in a huge scandal in Quebec province in Canada. and he disappeared in Panama, and then the news came out, well, he had cancer and died. I don't believe it. I think he faked his death. And the thing was that he had all... Anyways. Other ones, I believe, faked their death. Adolf Hitler, after World War II, his body disappeared. It was said that he took cyanide and he shot himself, and that the German soldiers burned his body, and that the Russians took the remains when they came into Berlin after World War II. Hermann Göring was the head of the Nazi Luftwaffe, which was the German Air Force in World War II. He was scheduled to hang, according to the news, whether it was true or not. But he was the word came out that no, he died by suicide. Someone gave him a cyanide pill that he took, so he missed the hanging. It was just that so many Nazis went to South America after World War II. And then so many more Nazis were brought to the USA after World War II under Project Paperclip, which was designed to get Nazi scientists, engineers, and spy masters to come there. In the end, so many things I wanted to touch on, but George Orwell's 1984, if you haven't read the book, you should read the book, because it's going to give you a good idea of what George Orwell, a British writer in the late 1940s, 1950s, wrote about. That is Big Brother government creating false news and propaganda in order to keep people wondering what the hell's going on. In the end, that's what I think's going on. I think also a lot of famous actors and musicians that are reported dead are not dead. The 27 Club, in other words, at age 27, they die. I think what happens is that they've collected so much money doing their acting or their music, they decide they're tired of doing the same songs all over the time, over and over and again, and they fake their deaths, buy a new identity, and disappear. And then they're reported dead so that the public doesn't go looking for them. But Jim Morrison was another one that they thought had faked his death. It's just, if you also look on the internet, there's plenty of screenshots of Craigslist where they're looking for crisis actors, which is basically background extras in the movies, people to play the parts in a crisis. So, in other words, if they wanted to fake a mass shooting or a bombing or whatever, or, you know, they could, in Hollywood, they have no problem going and, when I lived in Vancouver, Canada, Hollywood North, there was, on a street behind my apartment building, there was a house that was scheduled for demolition. They were going to build a new house as an infill. So Hollywood North said, "Oh, wonderful. Well, what we want to do is we want to shoot this this house for a movie, and we're basically going to, you know, between our regular, I don't know, is it stunt work or whatever you call it, and CGI, we're going to create this building on fire for the sake of our movie." I was in another TV show, Supernatural, and the very first gig that I ever did as a movie extra in Hollywood North, and they were using a regular apartment building in Vancouver's West End, and they were going to add CGI to the building to make it look like it was on fire. So everything can be faked. The movie Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman is all about Hollywood producers coming in to manufacture a bullshit war. This is what they do, and in the end, I'm going to give you this. I have to go so I can get this on Instagram TV. I'm Bob Frizzell, giving you the news from Astral Cafe, which should be where dead people go in the astral, or if they ascend. Is it really astral, or do they really ascend, or is it all just cuckoo? Everything's cuckoo, especially in Brazil, which is another cuckoo movie, etc., 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 etc. Look up Brazil, Internet Movie Database, imdb.com, and you can look up, I don't know, keep looking me up for all kinds of cuckoo news. Toodaloo.